Good day, class. So today we're going to be looking at some ponytails. This is one of the mannequins we'll be working with. As you notice, it's mid-length hair, and there is some highlights in there. When you're working with hair extensions, you want to make sure and analyze your client's hair really well. You want to mimic your client's natural hair as much as possible. For this hairstyle, I will be incorporating a fringe. So I've sectioned out a portion of the hair in the front, and I recommend always using reference points. I'm lining up the middle of the fringe area to the middle of the nose. This is going to allow me to have good balance and proportion. Along with the fringe area, I will also be incorporating 2 accent pieces right at the temple on each side. Once you're quite confident on where you want your placement for your ponytail, you can proceed with styling agents. In this case, I'm using a little bit of Ampro Pro Styling Gel, allowing it to dry as nice and smooth. Braid the top of the hair for the ponytail. As you can see, the detail in the accent pieces and the fringe, everything is ready and set. I've decided to leave the length for the fringe and get some definition in the middle. So create a really sharp line for the middle and actually have a middle part. I'm now going to be analyzing my hair extension that I'm going to be using. It is synthetic and it is 20 inches. So the synthetic ponytail that we'll be working with has a nice body wave curl to it. I won't be able to use a curling iron or flat iron on this hair because it is synthetic. So I want to think about how I'm going to incorporate this look to blend with the fringe. One thing that you could also notice is the synthetic piece has a lot more color. So therefore, I'm actually going to cut a piece of the synthetic hair that's highlighted and use it in the front fringe area to help blend the whole look together. So I'm going to create a bit of a money piece. This extension piece is called a drawstring ponytail. This is where I cut a little bit of the highlighted area for the front. Those pieces are drying with adhesive, and now I'm going to take the braided part of the ponytail and twist it to make a little bun. I'm going to use the drawstring ponytail, fit it right over that little bun, and pull the strings to create nice security. Once the ponytail is nice and secure, with the strings being tied and neatly hidden, you can play around with the versatility, which is what I'm doing now, and I think that I've made a good decision in terms of the placement. Now just a touch of hair glue to infuse those 2 little pieces for the front to bring the whole look together. Here you have it, our ponytail and fringe area. I use a scrunchie just to cover up any imperfections. Voila. A quick braid or twist and pin up can really show the level of versatility a style like this can give. There's so much you can do with a little bit of hair extensions and a bit of creativity. Now for mannequin number 2. I shampooed and conditioned the hair, and now I am looking for the right placement. It's always good to use a mirror. You want to make sure that you don't want to go through all of this work and at the end realize that your ponytail is off-centered. This can happen quite often if you don't check and double check. Of course, there is a number of tools that we can use to ensure that we get a nice smooth ponytail. This decision will be based on the length, the density, and the texture of the hair, of course. But once you can get a really smooth ponytail, that is the objective. I'm using a comb, using the wide teeth part and the fine teeth part of the comb. Many times I'll go over the surface with a natural bristle brush just to get an added amount of smoothness. Then you're going to think about what you're going to be using to enforce that ponytail. Many times the traditional type of elastic band may be a bit harsh or abrasive for the hair, depending on the fineness of the texture of the hair and the density. You may want to experiment with different types of scrunchies and things that will give you the hold and security that you need without creating friction right in that tension area. Once you've got your placement, you can separate the ponytail in two and just lightly pull. This will create extra tension and smoothness that we're looking for. An important note I don't want to forget is not to use your teeth when you're initially stretching out your elastic. It's not a good health and safety practice. I'm using the Ampro Pro Styling Protein Gel on the surface to create a smooth finish look. I intentionally used this particular gel because, as you can see, the gel is brown. I wanted a slight shift in the tonality of the hair to give me a better match for the hair extensions that I'm going to use. For the technique I'm going to utilize for this particular application of the hair extension, it's imperative to braid the hair really tight, nicely from the root all the way down to the tip. I'm going to complete and then dry. This mannequin, I'm going to be using a hair extension that is 14 inches, so it's imperative to make sure and braid the hair as I mentioned before. In this way, I want to use the application in a way that's going to give me more length than the 14 inches. So I'm going to separate this hair, I'm going to double it up, and I'm going to get a needle and thread. You're going to have your needle arm's length and then knot the end. You may want to have 2 needles threaded just to save time. You're going to start wrapping your wefts around your braid and stitching as you go. Wrap and stitch, wrap and stitch. Make sure that you stitch the base very nice and secure. And I'm just stretching these curls out a little bit and checking out the length. As you can see, the 14 inches of the weave that I had initially now looks like it's a lot longer. So that's the effect that I was looking for, why I did this technique. In many cases, you can just take a little piece from the ponytail and you can use that piece to wrap around the ponytail to create a bit of a band to help the ponytail to look a bit more natural. In most cases, if this is an actual client in my chair, I'll just get them to hold the ponytail up themselves. Doing this yourself is a little bit more challenging on the mannequin, but the band is the next thing you want to think about. Do you want a small band or do you want something that's going to create a lot of height, something a bit more dramatic? In this case, I'm going to use something a bit more dramatic, so I'm going to utilize some nylon, wrap it around really tightly. I'm going to get about 2 inches for my band, and then I'm just going to enforce the end with the needle and thread. Then grab a section of the hair and wrap that tightly around the band to create a really nice smooth look, and just finish it off with a bit of hairspray. This one is Got to Be Glued hairspray. I'm using a little bit of the Wig Shine product to create some sheen, and you want to be really careful with this particular one. Just a light mist, it can tend to get really heavy and oily if it's not used sparingly. Now some eyelash extensions just to amplify the transformation. Voila, another ponytail, and this is the finished look. And for another look, the same ponytail, just twisted and accessorized.